you got the Hario V60 for Christmas, and I wanted to teach you how to use it. It's cute, little carafe, I love that. And they come with the little filters. I like these filters because they're, the shape of them allows the water to slow down, and it just seems like it brews better than other types of pour overs. And the paper is really thin, so it's easier to rinse. It's easier to rinse off enough to not taste the paper as much. So I love those. So the first thing you want to do before you actually brew it, put the coffee in, is to rinse the paper filter. Now I'm only going to brew 12 ounces because I just want 1 cup. You can brew up to 24 ounces in this. However, I don't always get the best results. I get better results when I brew 18 ounces and less. For 12 ounces, I'm going to use 22 grams of coffee, or two tablespoon scoops. So that's 4 tablespoons of coffee, which is going to equate to about 22 grams. So if you want to scoop, that's fine. If you don't have a scale, I like to use the scale because it's just because there's no lines on my kettle. If you don't want to use a scale though, either get a kettle with the lines showing you how many ounces are in the kettle, so you know how many ounces you're pouring over your coffee, or you can measure your coffee before you put it in your kettle, but you want to put in a little extra because you want to rinse the filter first, and that's the tricky part. Like, how much are you really pouring in there to rinse your filter, and how much do you have left? So you know that's a little tricky. You could, if you have the Donnie Moose, you guys stop. If you do have the kettle with the lines, you could always just go down to a certain line when you're rinsing every time. So first thing I'm gonna do, I have a lot of water in here, so it doesn't really matter if I pour a lot in here or not. So I'm gonna pour. I like to, I know, I'm weird. I like to get the sides all even so that when the water flows through the coffee, that it's flowing through evenly, because that way I know that all the coffee is getting brewed the same, and it's not like leaning to one side and just brewing some of it. So you don't have to do that. I'm just weird. Okay, so that looks perfect. I'm gonna keep rinsing it because I find that if I over rinse it, like rinse it a lot, that I actually don't taste the paper, and I always taste paper, so it just takes a lot for me. Some people are different, So I brewed. I mean, I put quite a bit of water through there. But like I said, I filled the thing up, and I'm only brewing 12 ounces. Having scale is nice, but it's also more complicated, So you need a timer. Any old kitchen timer will do. Got the coffee. Got the wet filter. You see that it's all nice and even. And yeah, the cone filters are great because they all come out one area. Okay, so I'm gonna dump the coffee. And forgive me, I literally just threw my clothes on to do this video for you. The dogs are around, it's a mess. I don't really care, whatever. Okay, so I have the coffee in there. I'm gonna turn my scale on. And then I've got the timer in my hand, right? So I'm gonna pour the water over the coffee, and just a little bit, and I'm gonna push the timer. I only put a couple ounces over it because you wanna, what's called blooming. You probably already know about it, but it's called blooming. And the You want to wait for 30 seconds. And at 30 seconds, you'll start pouring the rest of the coffee, pouring the rest of the water over the coffee. So I hit 30 seconds. So my scale says 28. Now it's 4 ounces. And I'm gonna pour it up to 6 ounces. It's kind of a lot. I'm gonna let it I do it in stages. So I do a little bit and I do a little bit more. With this brewer, I find that it's helpful. Sometimes the coffee grounds gets kind of uneven on the top when you're pouring. So what I do is about halfway through, it's like 7 ounces. I'm gonna twirl it just a little bit, and it's gonna put some coffee grounds up on the side, but it's so little, it doesn't really matter. So what that does is it evens out the coffee so it's all brewing, and it makes sure everything's saturated. Hi, honey. I'm doing a video for Michelle and Lorena so they can learn how to do the pour over. It's okay, you can come in. I don't think it's gonna turn out that great anyway. I'm like, I have no makeup on, and so I'm continuing to pour over slowly. I'm at 8 ounces of water. It's about 2 minutes. That's slower than I normally go. Usually I hit about 2 minutes and I'm done pouring the whole 12 ounces-ish. I often go up to 13 ounces. Sometimes it tastes better. So I wanna make sure that all my water is poured over for sure by 2.5 minutes. But usually I end up hitting right about 2 minutes before all the water is in the top, and then I let it drain, which seems to be just perfect. There we go. So the rest, you let it drain, and that's it, and you enjoy your cup of coffee. So the tricks, you want to wet your filter, pre-wet your filter, let it bloom for 30 seconds, pour the water over slowly for 2 minutes, and maybe halfway through, and you don't have to do it. You could just not even do the little swirly thing if you don't want. It's not a big deal. You might try it later when you kind of get the hang of it. Sometimes if I have a really dark coffee and I do that, I feel like the coffee actually gets overbrewed. So if I did it too much, so you could just totally leave that out and make it less complicated. It's fine. So that's it. It's 3.5 minutes. The water is still not drained. Usually it's drained between 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how fast I went on the day and how my grinds were. My grinds are medium fine, so it's a little bit finer than the coffee maker. I have it like 1 click finer than the coffee maker. So your grinder is going to be different than mine. So whatever you have for your drip brew, a little less than that with the Hario. Okay. Enjoy. 4 minutes. Done. Perfect. On the larger batches, 18 ounces, it definitely takes 4 minutes. So you're going to pour a little faster, but you'll get the hang of it. It takes a few times. See you later.